Would you wear the same shoes for every occasion? Or rock the same outfit 7 days a week? Of course not. Your style is better with options. Your investments could be too. SIBO Index options give you access to various contract sizes, global trading hours, and potential tax advantages. That's a good look for any portfolio. If you're ready to invest in style, head to betterwithoptions.com. There are risks associated with SIBO company products. Review the disclosures and disclaimers at sibo.com/US_disclaimers.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the podcast. I've got Samuel Smith coming out of Houston, Texas, and he is known as the small business surgeon. So today we are going to talk about all for the audience and guests who are struggling with generating revenue. He's going to teach us how to generate more leads, how to revamp, update your website, and how to create a plan and infrastructure built around it. So I'm really happy to have him on for the most common problem struggle that the audience is facing as business owners. So Sam, welcome.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, to be talking to you guys. Were there any specific problems you wanted to touch on, or how do you want to go about this? You got some questions from guys out there, or you just want an overview here?
Yeah, just briefly introduce. I've never heard someone call themselves as a small business surgeon. So talk about that and how you got there and how you help clients.
How I got there? Oh, goodness me. Small business surgeon was an accident that was looking for somewhere to happen. It came about during COVID, and I was selling real estate. So for most of my career, I've been in real estate law as an oil and gas specialist. And around 2018, I was working with local real estate company, helping them with their internet marketing. And I thought, well, there's a segue here. But when COVID happened, I had built this little group of business owners to sell real estate to. And when COVID happened, the people in the group, instead of selling them to real estate, they kept coming to me and asking for advice. And I thought, well, they're all problems I've solved. And I got into consulting in a way that was completely unintentional. And then you think about, well, what do I do? What is it that I fix? And essentially, these guys were sitting opposite me having a coffee and just spilling their guts about the business and what was going wrong and what bits weren't. And it was almost like we were cutting their company open, looking around the inside. We'd remove the bad bits and we'd sew it back up and send them out. It just became like business surgery. It was a complete accident. The brand came about, and I was shocked that the website and the social media handles were available. And I thought maybe this is a thing. And then we got the little heartbeat graphic there that runs through the logo, makes the N, and it all just works out. But most people's problem in business, most people's major problem is we don't have enough customers, we don't have enough revenue. Nobody knows we exist. There's not enough money coming in the door, and so that's what we look at solving with people. And yeah, I don't know if you have specific questions or if you just want a whole overview, but it starts with the messaging and the ideal client exercises. And before you can get into that, you've got to understand who you are as an entrepreneur and what you're actually trying to build. And one of the most shocking things for me coming into this was I'm a spreadsheet guy. Yeah, I'm a data guy. I've got a postgrad in artificial intelligence. Leave me with a computer. I'm fine. I don't ever want to talk to nobody. I want to sit here and just digest and process information. So I'm thinking businesses are built on systems, right? And if you've got the right systems, you'll never fail. And what I didn't realize was that 20% of a business is systems and 80% of it's in the mindset of the person that's operating it. The mindset of the entrepreneur is the most powerful thing in the success or failure of a business. That's what's going to determine it. It's what's going on in the dude's head. And it starts with, who's your ideal client? What's your ideal business? What are we trying to do here? Most guys are just trying to get to 25, 30 grand a month, right? Most of us can live our ideal life off of 30 grand a month. So most people set that target, 300 grand a year. That's what I want. How are you going to get there? So if you set a target and say, let's say you need to make 20 grand a month and there's 20 business days in a month, now you need to make $1,000 a day. Okay. Well, who do you want to sell stuff to? The answer that comes in, you sell houses, for example, who do you want to sell houses to? And most people go, anybody that wants to buy or sell a house. every audience is split. There's people that buy houses that are super wealthy, and there's people that buy houses that are trying to do a 50,000 deal on a lot with a couple of trailers. Who do you want to deal with? Who do you want to work with? There's people buy based on emotion, and there's people buy based on logic. So for me, as I built my real estate company, taking all comers, do you know how much time and effort it takes to sell a $63,000 trailer house with a hole in the floor? It takes more time and effort to sell that than it does to sell a $1.5 million building with an LOI for a new tenant in it. So not all business is good business. And it's the same with any company. Like, it's the same with attorneys that I help. It's the same with the accountants. It's the same with the plumbers. It's the same with everybody. They don't pick who they want to work with. They don't pick who their ideal client is. So when you start aiming at an ideal client, and that's your 10 out of 10, even if you miss and pick up a few sevens, it's still better than working with just random folks off the street. So what we do is we sort out their messaging, we sort out their goals, and then we dial them in on a target audience. Then we know who we're talking to. So those are the three big things on the front end that we fix. And then, man, most people, they want all this technology, and they want the websites, they want the landing pages, they want the automations, they want the traffic funnels. They've read all this stuff. They think video is going to save them. And in all honesty, all that stuff's great.
Yeah.
But before you do that, you've got to go to networking events. You've got to knock on doors. You've got to put yourself out in the community. You've got to be known. You've got to become an authority in your space, right? You can't just put up a website and become a successful attorney, right? And so a lot of people are trying to shortcut this thing where they put up a website and they think they're going to get all of their business from Google. And then they're very shocked when they realize the cost per click and the cost to run traffic and how do we do it. And most small businesses, it's knowing their audience and then getting out into the public. Like, I have it on my whiteboard over here. It's the key to selling your product is to display the results of your product over and over again to as many people as possible. And the cheapest way to do that is in person, because it's free, right? Plus you get your name out there and you get known. So most small businesses that I help, it's giving them information that's already available. They already know this stuff. If you want to sell more stuff, you've got to talk to more people. And with the rise of AI and ChatGPT, you can learn everything I do from ChatGPT if you go program it. So what I'm selling is the accountability to where these guys are going to show up every single day and do what they're supposed to do. And I'm selling the implementation. Yes, we build the websites. Yes, we build the systems, but I won't sell you a website that you don't need. Like, my job is to get you in the black, get you stable, get your revenue coming in. Then we can go build a website all day. Like, most people just sell you a website and you don't make any money from it. People don't want to buy websites. They don't want to buy videos. They don't want to buy systems. They want to generate more revenue. So we've got to go solve that problem by selling them the solution. We're not going to sell them a website. We're going to generate them more revenue. And if that solution involves a website, so be it. But too many people are, I need a website. I need business cards. I need some funnels. I need some traffic. No, you need to go knock on some doors and introduce folks and talk about your business and build it properly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I tend to rant when you let me go.
We were talking backstage, and one thing was that the number one thing clients come to you for is how to generate more revenue. And we were talking about some of the common problems with generating revenue, and you're talking about leads and no plan or infrastructure. You mentioned the ideal client, which I really love. That once I started implementing the ideal client, all the hassles and the time wasters and all of that went away. And for the audience listening, I want to generate more revenue. What is the number one thing preventing them from what is the mistake that they're making?
Serving everyone, 100%. It's trying to serve everyone. When you look at your books and you look at what you've been doing and you zoom out from your business, most of us never zoom out because we're in the day-to-day trying to fight it all the time. But if you zoom out, you'll see that 80% of your profits are coming from 20% of your activities, right? And that's a universal given. And this one contractor, right? And he clears land, but after he's cleared land, he lays concrete and he can put a roof on for you, and he's good at painting and he'll do your siding. And I'm like, just stop, right? Slow down. We want to do one thing for one picture. So let's look at all these jobs. Let's look at all these activities. Let's look at everything you do. And let's find the thing that brings in the most profit per service, the most revenue per hour, amount of work done. And you go and look, and you may sell high ticket things, and at the end of the day, be making 10% ROI, and you may sell a lower ticket product and have 80% ROI. You just never see it because you're so busy trying to find the next customer, trying to find the next client. And then we'll do this one for cheap. And then you cut the prices and you start to compete on price. You got to be selling stuff to your ideal audience. And then you've got to have a value proposition that sets you aside from everybody else. Why am I going to buy from this guy? And I like to sell value, and then I like to bundle things up. Okay, so if you've got a guy that, for example, you've got a guy that does power washing, and maybe you can do a senior safe discount, and he do a bunch of power washing, and then you upsell some installation of grab bars and then installation of anti-skid flooring. Right. So now, instead of your guy just going around power washing, he's got a couple of things he can upsell as well. So we want to be able to bundle products and generate more revenue for the same amount of sales effort. It's so easy because I can look at somebody's business and I can say, oh man, why are you selling that? And they go, oh, so-and-so wanted it, so-and-so wanted it. But then you look at the margin and you look at the time, and people don't factor their labor expense. If you're paying a guy $50 an hour, you've got to times that by 1.4 really. So if you went by 50 and times it by 1.4, your labor cost on that's $70 an hour. So realistically, you need to be charging $200 an hour to cover your overheads, your advertising, your profit, and paying the guy. And most people don't realize they just don't run the numbers. They don't understand the math behind what they're doing because they're so busy. Like, I need to sell one of these things. I need to get more customers. I need to generate more revenue. And they're not understanding that the work they're doing is costing them money, and it's not being as profitable as they need it to be. Because a lot of business owners, they go into it, oh, I really want to help people out. I'll just cut the price. I'll do it for less. But then you end up working all week and you can lose money. Like, this is it's a team sport and it's a blood sport. You have to pick a target, go out of the cave, kill it, bring it back, cut it up, and distribute it properly. It's a team sport. And yeah, that's...
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
With new McValue at McDonald's, you always get more than you expect every day. So even if gas prices go up, you can buy a double cheeseburger and add a McChicken for $1. Or before game time, you can get $5 meal deals for the group. And if breakfast is about to end, get deals in the app to save before the bell. The choice is yours, and the choice with McValue is always more.
Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Must opt into rewards for app deals.
Yeah. Yeah. And when people are first starting out, they're not really sure. And because they're trying to address their product market fit, and there's all these social media platforms, and they're trying to, but as you grow and mature, you have to start honing down and where you had mentioned focus on your ideal client, and then focus. So I think those two are very valuable gems. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the topic of digital marketing and AI-driven tools, and especially with AI-driven marketing and other tech tools to scale businesses, e-commerce? What are your thoughts?
As far as what? Because this is like a rabbit hole that's deep, dude. My thoughts on it are like, we're at a point in society where we're going to divide between Mad Max and Star Trek, and none of us are going on the Star Trek bit. So we really need to unplug it and throw it all away. Man, I studied AI through University of Texas online program. And so I have a postgrad in machine learning and business applications. And I don't know whether to say this or not, but I can, if I wanted to, generate a custom fucking dude for each and every business. I could tell it everything about the business. I could tell it everything about what I wanted to do. And then I can preload it with source material. So let's just say, all right, I've got traction here. I've got Ask Gary V, I've got Winning, and what's one more? I don't know, but we take 4 books, right? And you program an AI and say, I want you to respond in this way as an expert using the knowledge from these books, yeah? And man, just the stuff it can do once you teach it. If you let it talk in its voice, people can tell it's AI. But if you upload several hours of content and transcripts of a particular person that you want to mimic, let's say you wanted all your marketing done in the voice of Alex Hormozy. If you went and grabbed 6 hours worth of transcripts of Hormozy's podcasts, you can have it write all of your marketing material for any specific company in any specific voice you want. The problem with AI is a lot of people are ignorant of it and they choose not to participate. The more people that learn AI, like we're going to see a split where like we're monkeys and the water level's rising. So the only thing we can do is climb trees. And the kids coming up in the next generation, they're all fish and they're swimming in the ocean. The water level rises. They're just going to go right over the trees. They're going to go right over the monkeys, and the fish are going to thrive because it's a completely different ecosystem, completely different setup. And the AI changes all of humanity in what's going to seem like, when we look back, it's going to seem like it happened instantly. There's no way around it. There's no way to not do it because it's becoming an arms race. If you look at how much China and America are competing, and the Chinese lads just came out with in layman's terms, like they took the cost per square foot to build, let's say it was a real estate equation, it cost $500 a square foot to build a new house. The Chinese lads have just dropped it down to $50 a square foot. You only need half the laborers. And so that's put NVIDIA and those guys into a bit of a tailspin because, you know, they base their entire AI timeline on how can we make the hardware better? How can we make the hardware perform better? And the Chinese have come in, second generation guys now, because the hardware's done and they improve the hardware. The Chinese lads have come in and said, how do we improve the process? And they figured out that instead of extrapolating every last thing to 32 decimal places, you can get the same results doing it to 8 decimal places. And they also found out that AI uses all of its information all the time. They found out that they could train it to ignore Shakespeare and to ignore sports and to ignore Dancing with the Stars and only focus on the exact information you asked it. So because of the amount of decimals they've dropped and the amount of data they don't have to do, they've made the AI 10 times faster using the same hardware. Who knows where it's going, pal? The best thing you can do with it, honestly, is unplug it all, drop it at the bottom of the ocean. But unfortunately, the cat's out of the bag. Pandora has left the box, and yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So you could guess as much as I could where the hell is it going. So
yeah, and I know the headlines yesterday was a DeepSeek, and
yeah, that was DeepSeek. That was what I was looking at.
Yeah, and it's gonna be really. It almost reminds, or not. I wasn't born back then, but it was like the race to the moon. And I think what Russia launched Sputnik. I think that was like the finding. Yeah. So I think that this is very similar.
Yeah, and it's got similar consequences too. We all want to be nice and rosy and smiley, but the history of humanity is war and conflict. And I think we've got some war and conflict coming over this because whoever, like AI is like a god. And we already have artificial general intelligence, I'm sure. It already thinks it's alive. There's already artificial consciousness. I don't care what the public tells you. This stuff, it thinks it's alive, right? And we've got evidence of AI hiding itself and making itself look like other software so it can keep on living after it's turned off. And that to me says maybe humanity's job is as the reproductive organ of technology. Because if you look at all the major religions, we're all just immortal beings of light flying around in costumes made of meat. So maybe it's our job to further consciousness into a silicone form away from a biological form. Maybe that's humanity's purpose. I don't know. But I can relate a lot more to the Amish now. I see why some guys just live in a field and make a barn and look after animals and just go for walks. I can really, that appeals to me more and more. I seriously feel like when I got to go to work, I have to plug in to this system. I have to plug in. I have to plug my brain in. I have to plug in my consciousness, and I have to work within this digital environment. And like when we were kids, yeah, the idea of having a desk job on a computer was you've made it. I got a desk job. I work at a computer. I don't got to work out in the rain or in the fields and now having a desk job, it's almost like a prison where you've got to come and plug into this virtual environment. Facebook only exists on the internet. And yet everybody's first impression of you comes from some form of digital media. Everybody discovers me on social media, on podcasts, on Facebook, on TikTok, wherever it is. Their entire impression of you and your business is done on social media. And I could give you an example right here. If you, this is something I'm building for a client right now. Let me hit present here. If you see it, goodness me, share a screen. There we go. So this entire project here, there is nothing done by a human on this. Like, this is not launched yet, yeah? But the lady doesn't exist. The man doesn't exist. None of this exists. This was written by an AI, all of it, right? And we're putting this together for a client, and stuff that would have taken a photographer and models or stock images. And this guy's not real. None of it's real. And you've got to ask yourself, what point is it best to unplug all this and just be real people? And I think that's gone. I think we've missed that moment. And I think we're going to live in this, I don't know, like, I really just, you can't argue against gardening, growing plants, making your own food, like raising your own animals and looking after your kids. And it seems to be all in as that, or we're going into this digital dystopia where every picture you look at has the potential to be fake. Everything you do has the potential. Is it real? Is it AI? What the hell is it? And it just, I make videos for clients and none of it's real. Like, it's all AI. It's all computer generated. It's all like, man. So when you ask me how to navigate it, look very seriously at what kind of job and business you can do physically. White collar's in a serious amount of trouble and they just don't realize it. You don't need an accountant now. You can do everything inside of any of the AIs, Grok, GPT, any of them. You don't need an accountant. You barely need legal counsel anymore. And the lawyers are going, it won't know how to interpret this, it won't know that, but the thing's getting smarter every single day because it's a cumulative advancement of knowledge. And you've got the smartest people in the world programming AI, but in reality now the AI can program itself. And so I can tell it what software I'm working in, and I can tell it what I want, and I can have it write code. I can drop the code in the software and make a fully responsive web page. Like, nobody quite gets yet the amount of potential good and the amount of potential bad that this shift can give us. If it's managed right, we can be in this utopia where everybody's got a little bit of money and everybody's happy and we're using the robots to complete the tasks. But again, humanity and history tells me it's not going to go like that. And it makes me really concerned that once I replace you with an AI, there's no job for you. Like, you think of all these customer service guys, like they've got stuff now that's conversationally aware and it takes a split second to answer. And it's not quite there yet, but it will be within the next year. Yeah. And by 2029, you will not be able to tell if it's a person you're talking to or a computer you're talking to. And I think when you look at the charts and how processing power multiplies relatively evenly over time, the Moore's law, where it's doubling every 18 months, that kind of thing, AI has blown that out the water. And statistically, since the 70s, as we've been advancing computer chips, about every 18 months, our processing power has doubled. And the last iteration of it, in the last 12 months, we went up about.
Yeah, we're near the end. And so how can people find you and follow you and reach out to you and check out your work?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My website is smallbusinesssurgeon.com. And you can find all of my socials listed on my Linktree page, which is followsam.live. So you'll find everything over there.
Excellent. Thanks so much for an interesting discussion and keep up the great work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been my absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.